What's going on, YouTube, Facebook, subscribers, viewers for Pro Wrestling here? This is Bill Mack with you bringing a WWE in review. I normally don't do Raw shows because it runs so close in, especially with the pay-per-view last night, and then SmackDown, and then TNA has to do them. But you know what? Yeah, I'll give it a shot, folks. Whether you like it or not, I'll just give it a shot, and I hope you enjoy it. Remember, folks, this is the Raw after Mania, so we expected a big crowd, a raucous, crazy crowd with surprise appearances. You know, they try to save the Raw after WrestleMania to make it a lot special than what your typical Raw is. Usually after a pay per view, usually they've done this the last 2, 3, 4 years where they've kind of emphasized and with the crowds are not just your typical crowds. They're after WrestleMania, so you have a lot of people that are there from other countries, other areas that are there, not along with just the locals that normally buy tickets to normally see a Raw. So typically when that happens, you have a lot of they've tried to introduce where there's been a lot more people. Sometimes surprise appearances that weren't on the pay per view, but are on Raw. And I guess they're going to do SmackDown the same way, but we'll find out later on. But we've seen what happened, as you see a couple few things on the show. As I'm not going to go through the whole pay per view, as they probably already did on Raw, but I'll give you some tidbits along the way with what happened, along with the reviews or with the review. So the show starts off. We hear the Undertaker chant. As many of you know who don't, and if you don't, the Undertaker lost last night in the pay-per-view to Roman Reigns. The Undertaker stood in the ring after the match was over with. He took off his hat, his gloves, his jacket, and he folded it up and left it in the middle of the ring. And he walks out, goes and kisses his wife. Then he goes up the ramp. He holds his arm up and the ramp, and he goes on. He's on this platform, and it takes him downward. Kind of an episode of like the Terminator 2. You know, when he went on the chain and held on as he went down again. It's kind of the way the Undertaker did. Very fitting for the Undertaker. Nice little tribute for him, of course. Like I said, that was the main event of the pay per view was Roman Reigns versus Undertaker. Undertaker losing, of course, it means he is basically going to retire. They left a lot of notes for him on Twitter and whatnot, wishing him the best and thanking him for all that he had done. So, but then the show opens up, like I said, Raw opens up, and you see basically the fans really hating on Roman Reigns. But they're chanting Undertaker, thank you, Undertaker. And this goes on for quite a while. Finally, before Roman Reigns comes out there, and he comes out there and he's kind of got this look on his face, and the crowd's booing him, and he'd go to put the mic up. They would boo him, and he would just look and wait till it died down. And then, this folks just had to go on for about 10 minutes before he said anything. And what made it, what stood out was the only thing he said is, "This is my yard now." Drops the mic to a whole arena packed full of booze and walks to the bag. No, I really respect the Undertaker, and I really, just some kind of face reaction to doing that. Kind of something you would expect to see. Roman didn't do that. Roman just said, "This is my yard now," and left. To me, I took that as being heel. Is Roman going to turn heel? Who knows? So we get a tag team rematch for the WWE Raw Tag Team titles. If many of you didn't know, the HARDYZ made their return last night to made it a fatal 4-way ladder match, and they won the tag titles. So Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson wanted a rematch of that because they claimed they weren't expecting that. And the ending saw Matt Hardy come out hitting the Twist of Fate on Luke Gallows, and Jeff Hardy hit the Swanton Bomb for the 1-2-3. The Hardys still retain the WWE Raw Tag Team titles. So also coming out, we see next coming out, Neville comes out, and he's talking about his victory and how he beat Austin Aries and whatnot at the pay-per-view to show actually Neville. So we know that Neville kept his Cruiserweight title. Good matchup back and forth. And then he comes out and he gets interrupted by Mustafa Ali in the segment. Nice little segment there. Neville kept his title, which wasn't one of my expectations. I kind of I thought Aries was going to get it, but Neville keeps it. So we come back and we see that this ends up being the interruption turns into a matchup between Neville and Mustafa Ali. Neville ends up getting him. He hits the Rings of Saturn, which is one of Neville's submission moves finishers. Now he ends up getting it on Ali, causing Ali to tap. Ali taps, and here we have Neville retaining the WWE Cruiserweight Championship. So we come back from break. We see a limousine coming out. Out steps Vince McMahon. Why is he here, man? He's always here after the Raw, after the WrestleMania. So he comes out to the ring, and he said that it was about time to shake things up. So he said, we're going to shake things up on Raw and SmackDown. I've met some of the people who have what they call a superstar shakeup. And what is that? Basically, is that going to be a draft? You know, as he said, he's going to allow general managers to make trades and moves and whatever they need to their respective brands. So maybe this is a draft. Who knows what to expect from it, but we'll hopefully learn more about it during the week. But he says that, they end up showing Stephanie going through the table, and Vince was into the crowd, and the crowd were cheering when they found out Stephanie wouldn't be there for a while, and Vince was upset about it anyway. It all leads to him calling out. He said, "Welcome your new general manager of Monday Night Raw, Kurt Angle." Kurt Angle comes out, thanks the crowd for it, and he's so we see that Kurt Angle ends up being the new general manager of Raw, which was expected. We had been talking about this for the past few weeks. And Kurt Angle was probably going to take the commissioner's or the general manager's role of Raw. So congratulations to Kurt, him being the Raw general manager. Up next, we see New Day come to the ring. Now, New Day, as we see, basically they missed being able to compete, but they said that they issued an open challenge. And so, first surprise of the night, the Revival answered that challenge. They come out and they end up, doing what Revival does in NXT. They ended up getting the win in their debut. And they ended up, looks like, hurting Kofi Kingston's ankle, which they said is something that the Revival are known for in NXT, of injuring their someone on their opponents, and this leads Kofi to being the one to have his ankle when they done it. We'll see what goes on with that. Is Kofi going to be out a period of time, and it just be a New Day of Xavier and Big E? Remains to be seen. So then we see we have a matchup with a tag team matchup. It's a three-woman matchup between Dana Brooke, between Bayley and Sasha Banks against Nia Jax, Charlotte Flair, and for another surprise return or re-debut is the Evil Emma. And remember all the hoopla she gave over months ago being Emma Melina, and then she didn't really fit in with the character, and it didn't really stick to her, and she didn't really like doing it. So then she ended up coming back Evil Emma, which was who she was before debuting. But she came out. We see that Sasha Banks ended up hitting the bank statement on Charlotte to get the win for her team. So here we see Sasha with the win. But Emma's nice little debut back. I always liked Emma. She can wrestle. It was a good thing. She came back, and she's a heel. So welcome back, Emma. Up next, we have the new WWE Universal Champion, Brock Lesnar, out with his advocate, Paul Heyman. And Heyman goes and brags on his defeat of Goldberg, which happened at the pay-per-view last night. He said, you won't be seeing Goldberg anymore, which really isn't true. But as we take a pause right here, I will be right back, and we'll finish this up. So stay tuned. We just be right back. And Paul Heyman comes and he says, "Well, it's about." Excuse me. He said, "Well, it's about time we change the status quo around here. We got to really determine who's yard this really is anyway, making reference to Roman Reigns, talking about it. And he tells Roman Reigns, in a way that he's wanting to go Brock to challenge him to a matchup, but then he asks about who do you want to see? Do you want to see Matt Hardy take on Brock? Do you want to see Jeff Hardy take on Brock? Do you want? And the crowd starts chanting Finn Balor, and Heyman said that he looked forward to seeing Roman Reigns tonight. And all of a sudden, Braun Strowman comes out there. Now, this is what I look for. This is what I was really hoping to see. I wanted to see this. There were talks in the works about Braun maybe being a potential, but he's still green. He's still learning. I mean, he's a monster now. And he looks big the size of Brock, which is, if it's going to be somebody to whip Brock, it's going to be somebody that size. So he comes out there and he said that he was going to, he just says he doesn't know about Reigns, but he says that Lesnar definitely caught his attention. And then he says whenever he gets done with Reigns, he's going to be looking for him. And then it kind of ticks off Brock Lesnar. He lays the title down, goes to the and dares Strowman to step across. Strowman looks at him and said, "Not right now, but in time. You know where I'm at. You know where to find me." And he drops down out the ring and goes to the back. So maybe this is a potential feud down the road for Brock Lesnar. Give some Braun Strowman. He's a good agile guy. He can wrestle. Give him some little more experience, and then put him with the Beast Incarnate. See how well he'll do against him. So then we show up. We see the backstage. We see Jericho talking, and remember they made him. They were going to make a matchup tonight where Jericho, Seth Rollins was going to take on KO and Samoa Joe. Well, Jericho talks about how he lost the U.S. title to Owens last night. Alert. And he talks about how he's going to get revenge back tonight. And he's got his friends and the people in the arena and stuff and getting them, the friends of Jericho, and cheer him on, man. And then he talks about the tip, about Owens having the tip of his finger to kind of save him and whatnot. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, he gets attacked by Owens and by Samoa Joe. They end up putting him through a table, and then Kurt Angle says that he is in no way or shape or form to be able to perform tonight. So, which really puts an damper. So now Seth has a mystery partner he has to pick up. Someone that Kurt is going to designate to join forces with Seth Rollins. So now they spend the rest of the night trying to figure out who that may be. So up next, as a part of a segment tonight, End Zone Cast were a little disappointed because they didn't win the titles. They, at the pay-per-view, and they said they had gold around their neck, but it didn't have gold around their waist. Kurt says, "I'll tell you what, I'm going to give you a number one contenders match. You fight Cesaro and Sheamus tonight, and you win, you're going to get a chance to be the number one contender." So we end up seeing Enzo and Cass, and it winds down where Enzo's about to do the boom shakalaka when basically Sheamus hits Big Cass with a big boot and ends up throwing throwing Enzo on the down, and as he does that, Cesaro hits that big European uppercut on him, and he gets the 1, the 2, the 3. And the winners and the number one contenders for the WWE Raw Tag Team titles are Sheamus and Cesaro, and they will have that shot against the Hardy Boys. So, decent match overall, folks. You still see that Enzo ends up still being the weakest link of that tag team. So, who knows? Maybe they get a title shot. That was for telling that the Hardys came back, because I thought in my predictions that the Enzo and Cass were going to win the titles because they hadn't won them yet. Remember, Cesaro, Sheamus already had them. The club was already champions. And so, then with Enzo and Cass, it was only natural you thought they would happen. But then the Hardys end up coming back and they win the titles. So, is the tag team titles even in the cards for Enzo and Cass? Will their tag team withstand what's going on? Who knows? But we'll find out hopefully down the road. And then next we have one of the last matches of the night, we have the whipping boy, I like to call him, Sami Zayn, taking on Jinder Mahal. They showed what happened to Jinder Mahal at the pay-per-view. And those of you who didn't know, Rob Gronkowski, the New England Patriots tight end, was in the crowd at the Andre the Giant Battle Royal. Jinder goes outside, throws drink all over Gronk, and Gronk ends up getting mad, goes in the ring, does a 3-point stance, and then Jinder gets thrown out. So Jinder comes back tonight, faces Sami, thinking Sami's going to end up losing again because he's been losing quite a bit lately, and ends up basically hits the haluva kick, and he kicks Jinder in the head in the corner, gets a 1-2-3. Sami Zayn gets the win. And last but not least, the Samoa Joe and Kevin Owens come out. Seth Rollins come out with his new gear. He's got gold gear this time. Kind of was dressed like a Night Slayer on the pay-per-view. He had this gold sword, and he stuck it into the ground, and it just rippled effect. Now, the effects of the pay-per-view were really good on the entrance. I will give them that. Their graphics are really good. But we see Seth come to the ring. All of a sudden, Balor's music comes out. No, not the demon, but just Finn Balor himself comes out. They have a good matchup back and forth. And it was just glad to see that Kurt Angle chose Finn Balor to replace Chris Jericho in this. We were expecting Balor to come. Thought it might have been during the Lesnar segment, but didn't. But why not introduce it here? And we'll see what goes on. But Balor ends up hitting the coup de grace on Kevin Owens, getting it 1, 2, 3. He starts, to the crowd, and then finally he stares at Seth Rollins. And remember, these two have a history because whenever Finn won the title, the first ever Universal title, Seth was the one that he got injured with Seth. But then Seth grabs his hand, holds it up. The fan starts cheering. He gives them a clap of respect. And then Raw goes off with the winners, Balor and Seth Rollins, in the ring together. So I hope you've enjoyed the WWE in Raw in review. This is Bill Mack here. If you like the video, drop a like on it. Subscribe to my channel. Pump out as much wrestling as I can for you folks. And until next time, hopefully with the SmackDown review. This is Bill Mack, and I want you to take it easy, folks.
Yeah.